from the AP, Trump administration is reviewing all 55 million foreigners with U.S. visas for any violations. Washington. The Trump administration said Thursday it is reviewing more than 55 million people who have valid U.S. visas for any violations that could lead to the deportation, part of a growing crackdown on foreigners who are permitted to be in the United States. In a written answer to the question from the Associated Press, the State Department said all U.S. visa holders, which can include tourists from many countries, are subject to continuous vetting with an eye towards any indication they could be ineligible for permission to enter or stay in the United States. Should such information be found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, he or she would be subject to deportation. The U.S. will also stop issuing worker visas for commercial truck drivers. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on Thursday on X, he said the change was effective immediately. So the fact that there are 55 million visa holders
knows that many. It should be 5,000.
It is.
We all found out this afternoon. It was. Did you see the timeline this afternoon when this story dropped? And everyone's like, 55 million.
So think about this: 55 million foreigners with visas, right? And then an additional 20 million that are here illegally in the past 4 years. So 75 million people. There's only 335
so we're almost at a third of the country.
Yeah, 335 million people. And also, this is what this is how they figure out apportionment for Congress. They will count all of those people. I'd be willing to bet anything that they're counting visa holders. Maybe they don't count people that are here on a tourist visa, right? But if you're here on any kind of green card or anything like that, you get counted for the census. These people are not Americans, and and to say that they only dilute the voting power a little bit, that is a ridiculous assertion now because there's 75 million of them.
And the Democrats will say it outright that they want these people to count in the census.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. That's why they stack them up. Everyone's like, I thought the Democrats, they love the inner city blacks the most. But what do? Where do they put the illegals when they come into the country? They build beds for them in the gymnasiums in like inner city Brooklyn, and they say, all right, they're all going to stay there. So you'd say, all right, why are the Democrat politicians pissing off their voting base by putting these illegals like in the gymnasiums of the schools where their voters send their kids? And it's because they just want to juice up those census numbers. They want to juice up those census numbers. And when you do that, it also impacts the census, and that impacts the congressional districts and how many districts you have. And these Democrat politicians would rather have smaller, concentrated liberal districts and more districts of that, because for them, it's about their votes in Washington. It's not about serving constituents or anything like that. So I think the Electoral College, the Electoral College also has a weight based on population
just
as well.
reps plus senators.
Yeah, reps. Yeah. So the Electoral College has a weight on that. So they want to tilt it, and that's why they fight for it. That's why they don't care about their own voters when they throw in the illegals into those inner cities. That's what I think about it.
I mean, the whole point is to affect the makeup of Congress, and that is to dilute the voting power and political power of the existing Americans, the American people that are born here, the people that are citizens, the people that have the right to be here, and that have the right to say, we object to this. We don't want you to do this. And that's a big part of why Donald Trump was elected, because the American people don't want this. They understand. Even if they didn't understand the technical way that they were doing it, the actual method that was being used to dilute their power, they understood that it was happening, and they have for a long time. And I think that's why you had such a turnout for Donald Trump. This is an absolute travesty, and I think that the Trump administration shouldn't just review people that have any violations. Like if they have even the smallest violation, if they have a traffic ticket, you go, because this is a problem for the voting population of the American people. It's not just, these, if they're good, that's okay. No, these people are getting counted in the census, and they affect Congress. So these people need to go.
Well, not just that, like they just change America.
Yeah.
Like we didn't vote on this. We want America to be American. We want it to be culturally American. And they do this thing, like even Republicans, they'll concede that it's bad on political grounds. They're like, okay, yes, this is okay. They'll outvote you. But it's like, I think it's perfectly valid as an American and as an American that has family here going back hundreds of years to be a little concerned that there's 75 million foreigners here. It's like, I didn't vote for this. None of us did. So it's like, and I'm tired of being gaslit. Like it's a totally irrelevant conversation to have of like the cultural makeup of my country being changed.
It also is the no matter what you do, it'll never change because Republicans made this happen. I mean, and Democrats, but Republicans too, because this system was built over the last 40 years by Republicans and Democrats. So, no matter who you elect, no matter what they say, vote for me or do this, they say it might never change.
And you know, it's the problem for me is imagine going to another country and like protesting about anything in another country. So something like this where they're reviewing all of this, I'm sick of seeing protesters who aren't from this country. Like, what are you doing? This is insane. So this will help that, I think, a little bit.
Well, it's I mean, because people come here and they impose their will on the United States. I mean, there's a huge difference between like the initial settlers that came to this country, or even the waves of immigrants, you know, leading up to the Ellis Island wave. Post Ellis Island, post the World Wars, the stock of immigrants coming are completely different. They're coming here without the intention of assimilating. They're coming here with the intention of changing the country. And in all fairness, the people that are letting them come into the country give them that command. They're saying, "You enrich us. Like your culture's enriching. We want your culture here." And you're just sitting here like, "Well, what's wrong with American culture? Why?
Yeah.
What are we losing by not having a bunch of people from India and Mexico and the Philippines here?" It's like, no, we're actually a pretty great country. And they're doing the same thing to the Europeans on steroids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're just actively telling people in England, like, actually, there's no such thing as an ethnic Englishman. Like, anyone can be English.
They're like the testing grounds, Europe, for us.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, the stuff that's going on in the UK is pretty objectionable to most anybody, and you see it in the way the English people are actually responding. They're starting to put up actually English flags, and for a long time in you know, my life, I remember hearing from my friends from Europe and stuff. They were like, "Don't you guys think it's a little silly how many American flags you have put up? Don't you think it's a little silly?" And they thought it was a little on the crass side. And I was like, "Nah, man, I've got a 13 colonies flag from here to here." You know, it's like
Just because you lost the war.
yeah, you know. But now I think that there are a lot of people in Europe that are starting to see the value of believing in their nation, believing in their country.
The immigration situation in the UK is dissimilar to ours in that it's more starkly a cultural difference because the immigrants are largely Muslim. The cultural differences are far more noticeable. You could say that Mexican culture and American culture are less dissimilar than Muslim countries and the UK. It is a racial issue more so in the US, and the mandate has been extremely clear from 2016. I believe 9 out of 10 people who voted for Trump in 2016 are white people. Mm-hmm. And the message was very clear. Maybe they don't understand the intricacies of how businesses influence the issue, but they're tired of interacting with them. They're tired of interacting with foreigners on a daily basis. They're ornery and rude and inconsiderate.
Yeah, I thought these were like people who were fleeing oppression and seeking asylum, but they come in and act like they own the place and shit all over the spot.
That speaks to the difference in culture, though. There are like the way what is considered polite here is just not considered polite in different cultures, and
I do believe it's because they're interacting with Americans.
Yeah,
they behave this
Oh,
way.
they definitely
in
they
nature.
look down upon us.
They size you up. And like she's saying, I mean, they brought like, what, 50 white South Africans in? And I mean, you would have thought we imported the entirety of the Taliban. Like the way that the leftist media reacted just made it so obvious that it's actually there is a racial component, and they made it very obvious. They played their hand when that happened because for the longest time they were denying it. They were saying no, they're just looking for a better life. And when that came out, like, oh, and actually we just hate white people, and we would really like to just breed you out of existence. That's what happened.
And I think symbolism matters. And if you go to Europe, I was there last summer, and all of the flags are European Union flags. So none of the flags have their own identity anymore. You know, anywhere you go in Europe, they're flying the European Union flag where the flag of their country should be. And I said, why would you fly the flag of this organization that you created? So it's kind of weird. It's almost like they're taking the identity and just trying to wipe it clean, make it one thing. And, you know, that's the globalists right there.
You know, back to the point of what's going on in the UK. In the UK, they're actually painting potholes with the English flag, the red cross, and on a white flag. They're painting that in the bottom of potholes in order to get the magistrate to come and actually fill the potholes and fix the roads. And apparently it's working fairly well. But you do see a lot of people have actually started to fly the English flag, and I think that people are actually getting in trouble for it too. There's a pushback from the government itself saying
vandalize this precious pothole.
Well, I don't think that it's about the potholes, but more when they're actually flying regular flags. But they're like, you should take that down because it's culturally insensitive. And the idea that you wouldn't be able to fly your own country's flag in your own country because it might insult someone that is in your country, living off your country's largesse, living off your benefits and stuff is, I mean, that's ridiculous to me. But in the UK, that's honestly like that's the norm. That's the way that it is.
And you could just not leave your house and just tweet something and then get sentenced to 2 years in jail.
The guy, wasn't there a guy and he got sent? What country was it? In the UK, where he said, "I don't want my kids getting raped by these whatever people,
the grooming gangs."
And they gave him, where was that?
Yeah, the grooming gangs in the UK. Everyone,
And he got sentenced to 20 months in jail.
something like
Oh, it
that.
happens all the time. Oh, and
They put like 3,000 people a year in jail now for Facebook posts.
It's crazy. And what you're saying, it's actually kind of there actually is some truth to what the government is saying over there, which is, yes, flying the St. George's flag, the English flag, that actually is hostile towards what is currently the ideology of the United Kingdom's government. It does actually stand. It's like identifying with your English heritage and culture is a rebellion against the current status.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.